Hello everyone and welcome to the biology lecture series. And today we'll be discussing the topic human reproduction. Okay, so this lecture is the continuation of the previous lectures. So previously what we have studied, we'll just revise it a little bit. Okay, so what are the events? We were talking about the pre-fertilization, fertilization and the post-fertilization events. Okay, so let's have a look at them. The first are the pre-fertilization events. What are the events here during pre-fertilization? First is the gamete formation, that is known as gametogenesis. First is gametogenesis, means gamete formation. How can you define gametogenesis? It is the formation of the gametes. Clear? So male gamete is known as the sperm and the female gamete is known as the ovum. So gametogenesis, in males it is known as spermatogenesis. And in female it is known as oogenesis. Through spermatogenesis, the sperm is formed, or you can say spermatozoa. From oogenesis, ovum or egg is formed. Okay, so this is the first event, pre-fertilization event. Second is the transfer of the gamete, transfer of the male gamete, that is known as the sperm, into the female genital tract. Okay, so second will be the transfer of the sperm, which is the male gamete, into the female reproductive system. Okay, so the sperms, they are released into the uterus of the females. Clear? So this is known as insemination. The transfer of the sperm into the uterus or uterus of the female reproductive system, this is known as insemination. Okay, or you can say transfer of the sperm into the vagina of the female. Clear? This is known as insemination. Now, which organ? Penis helps in the transfer of the sperm. So during the coitus, also known as sexual intercourse, the sperms which are present in the semen, these are transferred into the female genital tract. Clear? So semen consists of the sperms which are motile. So you should remember that the female gamete is non-motile. So sperm has to swim and it has to reach the female gamete, which is the ovum. And then the fertilization occurs in the ampulla of the fallopian tube. So both the sperm and the ovum, they should reach simultaneously in the ampulla of the fallopian tube. So what is the composition of the semen? It consists of sperms. It consists of fructose also, which is a sugar. All right, clear? And a lot of other things are also present. So these are the main components, sperm and the fructose. It also consists of citric acid also. All right. So these were the pre-fertilization events. Next is the fertilization. What is fertilization? Fertilization is the fusion of the male and the female gamete. Male and the female gamete. Okay. So fertilization occurs in the ampulla. So what is the site of fertilization? It is the ampulla region. Yeah, you can say ampullary region of the fallopian tube. Fallopian tube is also known as oviduct. Clear? Then after fertilization, what is formed? Zygote is formed. So next is the post-fertilization events. So post-fertilization means after fertilization. Pre-fertilization means before fertilization. So after fertilization, what happens? Zygote is formed. Zygote, which is diploid, is formed by the fusion of the male and the female gamete, which are both haploid because they are formed through meiosis. Clear? Now zygote further develops into the embryo. So we have also studied in the previous lecture how the fertilization and implantation takes place. The fertilization takes place in the ampullary region. And then what happens when the zygote is formed? Zygote undergo further divisions and then it forms blastomers. Okay. So zygote, if this is the zygote divides and it forms 2, 4, 8 and 16 cells. And these cells are known as blastomers. Alright, these are known as blastomers. So 18 to 16, okay, or the structure that contain 18 to 16 blastomers, that is known as morula. Now morula further divides and it forms the blastocyst. So morula further forms the blastocyst. Now blastocyst, it gets attached to the uterine wall, which is known as the endometrium. So blastocyst, the outer, okay. So in the blastocyst, the blastomers, they form the outer layer that is known as the trophoblast, and okay, it also forms the inner mass of cells that further develops into the embryo. The blastocyst. What happens in the blastocyst? The blastomers, it forms the outer layer. The outer layer is known as trophoblast. Okay, this is known as trophoblast. Okay, this trophoblast help in the attachment of the blastocyst to the endometrium, and it also forms the inner mass of cell. This inner mass of cells later on forms the embryo. It differentiates into the embryo. So we studied about the implantation and fertilization in the previous lecture. Clear? So in this lecture, what we will study? We are going to study about the pregnancy and the embryonic development. Clear? Then we'll study about the parturition and lactation. Parturition is the term given to the childbirth. Clear? And lactation is the production of the milk. Now after implantation, what was implantation? Okay, when the blastocyst, it gets attached to the uterine wall, it gets attached to the endometrium. So how implantation occurs, that we have already studied. So what happens? This was blastocyst. Clear? So we can write like this: zygote, it divides, then it forms the morula. Morula further divides and it forms the blastocyst. So some of the blastomeres, they form the outer layer, or you can say blastomeres present on the periphery, they form the trophoblast. So this trophoblast helps in the attachment. It helps in the attachment of the blastocyst to the endometrium, okay, of the uterus. Now the blastomeres also form the inner mass cell. These inner mass cells, they get transformed or they get differentiated into the embryo. they differentiate into embryo. Clear? So after implantation, this is known as implantation. These are the events that are happening during the implantation. Clear? So finger-like projections appear on the trophoblast. Clear? So these finger-like projections, these are known as chorionic villi, which are surrounded by the uterine tissue and the maternal blood. Clear? So finger-like projections, they appear on the trophoblast. So trophoblast, it forms the chorionic villi, which are the finger-like projections, and these finger-like projections, these are surrounded by the tissue of the uterus. Clear? And it also consists of the maternal blood. Now chorionic villi and uterine tissue, okay, both of these, chorionic villi and uterine tissue. So chorionic villi, this is the tissues from the growing or the developing embryo, and uterine tissue is from the mother. So both of these, these become interdigitated with each other and jointly form a structural and functional unit between what? Between the developing embryo, which is now known as the fetus, and the maternal body, and this structure is known as the placenta. So how placenta is formed? So placenta, you should remember, placenta is formed, or it consists of what kind of tissues? It is formed by both the tissues of the developing embryo. Clear? Formed by the tissues, two kind of tissues. One tissue is coming from the embryo, because the trophoblast, it forms, what does it form? Trophoblast forms finger-like projections known as chorionic villi. Clear? And what is the second tissue? First is the chorionic villi, that is arising from the trophoblast of the developing embryo, and second one is the uterine tissue of the uterus. So both uterine tissue as well as the chorionic villi, they both forms the placenta. And placenta is formed between what? Between the developing embryo, which is now known as the fetus, and the maternal tissue. So you can see here. Clear? Between the developing embryo and maternal body. So where does it form? It is formed between the developing embryo, which is now known as the fetus, and the maternal body. So this development of placenta is very important. Clear? And it forms the structural and the functional unit. Okay, this is known as the structural and the functional unit, which is formed between the fetus and the maternal body. So what is the role of the placenta? Why the placenta develops? Okay, so first of all, we will see this image. So this is the human fetus within the uterus. So this is the developing embryo, which is known as the fetus. This is the yolk sac. This is the cavity of the uterus. This is the placental villi. Okay, chorionic villi. All right, and this is the umbilical cord with its vessels. Clear? So these are the villi that are arising, and these combine with the uterine tissue and they forms the placenta. This is clear? And placenta, you know, is formed between the developing fetus, here developing embryo, which is known as the fetus, and the maternal body. Clear? Now let's move on to the next slide. And here is the umbilical cord. So the this fetus is attached to the body of the mother through this umbilical cord, and whenever there is a childbirth, which is known as the parturition, then the umbilical cord has to be cut down. Next, now what is the role of the placenta? Why does it develop? What is the significance? So placenta, it facilitates the supply of the oxygen, nutrients to the embryo. Alright, so development of the embryo, it requires nutrition. So like humans also, like animals also, like plants also, they require nutrition. So embryo, it cannot eat, it cannot feed itself, it cannot synthesize its own foods like autotrophs. So it obtains the nutrients from the mother. So placenta, it provides nutrients as well as supply as well as oxygen. So these nutrients are present in the mother's body. So these nutrients as well as the oxygen which is dissolved in the blood, these are supplied to the embryo for its growth and development. And the embryo, developing embryo, this is doing a lot of metabolic activities now because it is alive, and so it produces carbon dioxide and lot of nitrogenous waste material. So waste material and excretory materials are produced by the embryo as well as carbon dioxide is also produced. So these waste materials are also exchanged with the help of the placenta. So oxygen and the nutrients, these are absorbed by the embryo through the placenta, and the waste materials, these are passed on to the mother through the placenta, and these are produced by the embryo. Clear? And then through the mother's body, the waste materials are eliminated out of the body of the mother. Now placenta is connected to the embryo through an umbilical cord. Okay, in the previous image I have shown you the umbilical cord which helps in the transport of the substances to and from the embryo. So placenta helps in the placenta which is connected to the embryo through the umbilical cord. This umbilical cord helps in the transport of the substances, okay, to and from the embryo. Now placenta also acts as an endocrine tissue. So what are endocrine tissues or endocrine gland? So these endocrine tissues, what will they secrete? They will secrete hormones. You must be knowing about lot of endocrine glands like gonads. These are endocrine gland, testes and ovaries, pituitary gland. These all secrete the hormones. And what are the specialty of these endocrine glands? They are ductless gland. They don't have ducts and they directly secrete their products or the secretion directly into the blood. So placenta also acts as an endocrine tissue and provides and produces hormones like human chorionic gonadotrophin, which is known as HCG, and human placental lactogen, which is known as HPL. Apart from this, placenta also secrete hormones such as estrogen and progesterone. You already know about these hormones, estrogen and progesterone. These are also secreted during the menstrual cycle, we have seen. Clear? Now, in the later phase of the pregnancy, a hormone called relaxin is also secreted by the ovary. So ovary, which are the primary sex organ in the female. So these ovary, they secrete a hormone that is known as relaxin, and relaxin is secreted during the later phase of the pregnancy. Clear? Now let us remember that HCG, HPL and relaxin are produced in the woman's only during the pregnancy. So they are secreted, okay, after the implantation. Clear? And it is secreted during the development of the embryo or the fetus. So this is produced during the pregnancy, all these hormones. In addition, during pregnancy, the level of other hormones like estrogen and progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine are increased several folds in the maternal blood. So you can see there are a lot of changes during the pregnancy. There are a lot of physiological as well as hormonal changes. The level of all these hormones, they increase several folds in the maternal blood. There are a lot of hormonal changes. Clear? So all these hormones, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine, the level of these hormones increase. The increased production of these hormones is essential for supporting the fetal growth. So all these hormones help in supporting the fetal growth, metabolic changes in the mother, and maintenance of the pregnancy. So you know thyroxine, it controls the metabolism. It controls the basal metabolic rate. Okay. You must have been known about the thyroidism also. So hypothyroidism, metabolism decreases, hyperthyroidism, metabolism increases. So all these hormones, they support the fetal growth, and they also, okay, regulate the metabolic changes in the mother, and they also help in maintaining of the pregnancy. Now, immediately after the implantation, the inner cell mass, I've already told you, the blastomeres, they forms the outer layer which is known as the trophoblast, which helps in the attachment of the, okay, the what blastocyst to the uterine wall. And next is the inner mass cells, inner cell mass. So these inner cell mass, they differentiate into the embryo. Clear? Now the inner cell mass, okay, which differentiate into embryo. First of all, it differentiate into the outer layer called the ectoderm and an inner layer known as the endoderm. Clear? So how the differentiation of inner cell mass is taking? First of all, it forms the outer layer which is known as the ectoderm, and it forms the inner layer known as the endoderm. Now mesoderm soon appears between the ectoderm and the endoderm. So these are known as the germ layers. Clear? So inner mass cells, you can write inner cell mass. Inner cell mass is differentiate first into the ectoderm. Okay, so this is how the embryo develops. Ectoderm is the outer layer. Then the endoderm develops. So this is the inner germ layer. And then mesoderm appears, okay, between the ectoderm and the endoderm. So mesoderm should be the middle layer. Clear? Now these three layers give rise to all the tissues in the adult. So from ectoderm, some tissues will arise and organs will develop. From mesoderm, some organs and tissue will develop. And from endoderm also, some organs and tissue will develop. All right, this is clear. So from all these three germ layers, the body of the or different part of the individual, they develop. Now, it needs to be mentioned here that the inner cell mass contains certain cells called the stem cells, which have the potency to give rise to all the tissues as well as the organ. Clear? So these, first of all these ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, these will form your various organs like digestive system, respiratory system and all. Okay? Clear? Now, the inner, you're talking about inner cell mass. So inner cell mass, they also consist of stem cells. What are stem cells? Stem cells has the potency to divide, and it can give rise to all the tissues as well as the organs. Clear? So stem cells, they keep on dividing, they keep on proliferating, and they can give rise to any kind of tissues as well as organs. So you must be knowing about the stem cells, transplant also. Clear? Now, what are the major features of embryonic development in various months of the pregnancy? Clear? You should know this. Now, the human pregnancy lasts for 9 months. So the gestation period is 9 months. Clear? Alright, you should know about the various stages of the embryonic development during various months of the pregnancy. So pregnancy is for 9 months. So what is happening during the first month, second month, third month? Alright, till the 9th month. Clear? So this means the gestation period is 9 months. After 9 months, the childbirth takes place, which is known as the parturition. Clear? So how do you know how many months does pregnancy last in dogs, elephants and cats? So in dogs, the pregnancy lasts for around 63 days. Means the gestation period in 63 days. In elephants, it depends. Okay, but the gestation period is quite, you can say, large. So from 18 to 22 months. Here, okay, pregnancy can last for 18 to 22 months. And cats, again, similarly like dogs only, it is around, you can say, 63 or 65 days. Clear? Now, in human beings, after 1 month of the pregnancy, the embryo's heart is formed. See, we were talking about the features of the embryonic development at various months. So, after 1 month, okay, after 1 month, the heart is formed. So, heart will be formed from one of the germ layers, which were ectoderm, mesoderm, and the endoderm. Clear? Now, first sign of growing fetus may be noticed by listening to the heart sound carefully through the stethoscope. Clear? So, growing fetus, how you can say, okay, this is the growing fetus and it is alive. You can listen to the heart sound, okay, through the instrument known as the stethoscope. Now, by the end of the second month of the pregnancy, the fetus develops limbs and the digits. Clear? So, in the second month, what is happening? The fetus develops the limbs and the digits. So, first of all, at the end of the first month, the heart develops. And then, after the end of the second month, limbs and digits develop. Clear? So, the end of the first month, so this is the month. You can write like this. You can remember like this. The heart develops. Then, during the end of the second month, the limbs. Limbs are your hands and the feet. Okay, limbs and the digits, like your fingers. These develop. By the end of the 12th week, which is the first trimester, most of the major organ system are formed. For example, the limbs and the external genital organs are quite well developed. Clear? So by the end of 12 weeks, or you can say by the end of the first trimester, okay, what is happening? The limbs and the external genital organs in humans, in males, like penis, these develop. So again, limbs development is taking place. Females also have this external genital organs. We have talked about this external genital organs, okay, when we were talking about the reproductive system of male and the females. Clear? So these develop. Now, the first movement of the fetus and appearance of hair on the head are usually observed during the 5th month. So during the 5th month, what you can see, okay, so before the 5th month or at the end of the first trimester, all the organ system has developed. Clear? We have digestive system, we have respiratory system, excretory system. All right, all these develop. And during the 5th month, what you can see the presence of hairs on the head. Clear? Now, by the end of about 24 weeks, means by the end of the second trimester. So, the end of the second trimester, what is happening? The body is covered with fine hairs. So, you know what is the characteristic of the mammals? The mammals, they have body hairs. Okay, apart from this, the females, they have the mammary glands. So, the body is now covered with the fine hairs. Eyelids, they separate and eyelashes are formed. Okay, so what is happening? Body hairs, you can see the body hairs. Then the eyelids, they separate. And what else is happening? The eyelashes. You can see the eyelashes also. Now, by the end of the 9th month of the pregnancy, the fetus is fully developed and is ready for the delivery. So, you should remember all these events, all these embryonic development events. What is happening? You should remember this month wise or trimester wise. Okay, so what is happening? The fetus is fully developed. All right, and it is ready for the delivery. Clear? So the pregnancy lasts for 9 months. Okay, or the gestation period is 9 months. So in the gestation period, what is happening? There is the development of the embryo. All right, clear? Now let's move on. So the average duration of human pregnancy is about 9 months, and this is known as the gestation period. This is, I have already told, and gestation period varies in different animals. Like in cats and dogs, we have seen it is around 60 to 65 days, and in elephants, you can see it is from 18 to 22 months, depending on the species of the elephant. Clear? Now, vigorous contraction of the uterus at the end of the pregnancy causes expulsion or delivery of the fetus. Clear? Now, this process of delivery of the fetus, okay, or childbirth, this is known as parturition. So, a scientific term has been given to the childbirth, which is known as the parturition. Clear? Now, parturition is induced by a complex neuroendocrine mechanism. Childbirth, it involves neuroendocrine, means neuro means nervous system. So it involves two components, nervous system as well as the endocrine system. So hormones are also released during the parturition, and some of the hormones, they help in the contraction of the uterus. All right, artificially the contraction can also be induced. So doctors, they inject some hormones for the contraction. Clear? Now the signals for the parturition originate from the fully developed fetus. Okay, they develop from the fully developed fetus, and the placenta, which induce mild uterine contraction, called the fetus ejection reflex. So where does the signals originate for the childbirth? It originates from the fully developed fetus itself, as well as the placenta. All right. So these signals, these induce mild uterine contraction, okay, which is known as the fetal ejection reflex, and this helps in the delivery of the baby. Now, this triggers release of the oxytocin hormones from the maternal pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is the master gland. It is also known as the master gland, and it is an endocrine gland. And okay, release of oxygen, release of oxytocin, it occurs from the pituitary gland. Clear? So, first of all, the fetal ejection reflex will originate, and this will trigger the release of the oxytocin from the pituitary gland. Clear? Oxytocin has so many roles. It is very important. So oxytocin acts on the uterine muscles and cause stronger uterine contraction. So this is the role function of the oxytocin. It helps, okay, or it stimulates the uterus to contract. Initially, there is only very mild uterine contraction, which occurs due to the fetal ejection reflex. So this reflex will trigger oxytocin synthesis. Oxytocin will again, it will enhance the uterine contraction, okay, which in turn stimulates further secretion of the oxytocin. Clear? So oxytocin is helping in the release of itself. Okay, so oxytocin is causing strong uterine contraction, and it further stimulates the release of the oxytocin, which will again cause the uterine contraction. All right, till the birth of the or the delivery of the baby occurs. Now, the stimulatory reflex between the uterine contraction and the oxytocin secretion continues, resulting in the stronger and the stronger contraction. Okay, so oxytocin is keep on releasing. All right, so this creates a this results in a stronger and stronger uterine contraction that will ultimately lead to the delivery of the baby. So this leads to the expulsion of the baby out of the uterus through the birth canal. Okay, birth canal. This is the vagina. Vagina is known as the birth canal. Vagina, along with the cervix, is known as the birth canal, and the childbirth is known as parturition. Clear? Now, soon after the infant is delivered, the placenta is also expelled out of the uterus. So you know what do doctor do whenever there is a childbirth? They cut the umbilical cord because placenta is connected to this umbilical cord. All right. Soon after the childbirth, the placenta is also expelled out of the uterus. Clear? So do you think what the doctors inject? So doctors also they also inject some hormones, okay, which induce the uterine contractions, such as prostaglandins. Now the mammary glands of the female, okay. So so humans, these are mammals, and what are the features? Two characteristic feature: presence of the body hairs and the presence of mammary glands in the females. So the mammary glands of the females, they then undergo differentiation during the pregnancy and start producing milk towards the end of the pregnancy by the process called as lactation. So what is lactation? Lactation is the release of the production of the milk. All right, and we have also already seen the structure of the mammary glands. So there are lactiferous ducts. So milk is produced and the milk is sucked through the nipples by the child. Clear? So mammary glands, they start differentiating during the pregnancy time only, and they start producing the milk during the towards the end of the pregnancy. And this a scientific term has been given to this production of the milk. This is known as lactation. All right. And what is the milk called? This milk is called as colostrum. This is milk is known as colostrum. It is quite thick and it is yellow. It is yellow, it is thick, and it contains immunoglobulin. It contains antibodies. It contains immunoglobulin A. So it provides defense against the pathogen attack also. It has antimicrobial agents also. Clear? So colostrum, which is the mother's milk, this is also very important. So this helps the mother in feeding the newborn. This milk, which is known as colostrum, this helps in feeding the newborn. Because newborn cannot feed itself. It doesn't have teeth also. So it can only suck this colostrum, which is the mother's milk, from the nipples of the female mammary gland. Now, the milk produced during the initial few days of the lactation, this is known as colostrum. Colostrum, this is I've already told you, which contains several antibodies. It contains immunoglobulins. Another name for antibodies is immunoglobulins, and is denoted by Ig. Okay, immunoglobulins, known as Ig. Okay, which is absolutely essential to develop resistance for the newborn babies. Clear? Now, the breastfeeding during the initial period of infant growth is recommended by doctors for bringing up a healthy baby. So, this colostrum is rich in nutrients also. It is rich in antimicrobial agents also. It is rich in antibodies also. So, it is very important. Okay, and it develops resistance for the newborn babies. So, it helps in the defense from various pathogens because it contains the antibodies. Clear? So in this session what we have studied about the post fertilization events. So we have studied about the fertilization implantation in the previous lecture, and then what we studied here, we studied about the embryo, how the embryo is developing. We studied about the pregnancy. So pregnancy in the humans, they last for 9 months, but it can vary also. The pregnancy, the time or the gestation period, it can vary, such as in, you can say, cats, and in dogs, the gestation period is around 65 days. In elephants, it is around 18 to 22 months. Then we also talked about what is the condition of the embryo, all right, or the developing fetus during the different months of the pregnancy. So we've seen what is happening. So first of all, the heart is developed at the end of the first month. Then the limbs and the digits, they develop at the end of the second month. Then what is happening during the first trimester? At the end of the first trimester, all the organs have developed along with the external genital organs. These have developed. Then what is happening during the second trimester? Clear? At the end of second trimester. And then at the, you can say, during the 9 months, the fetus is fully developed and it is ready for the childbirth. Clear? So we have covered all the topics. All right. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much for listening. Here.